On episode 188 of the Tennis Files podcast, you'll learn pro-level training and fitness secrets with ATP professional Illya Marchenko. Hey everyone, this is Mirabon. Welcome back to another episode of the Tennis Files podcast. And this one is arguably my favorite type, which is interviewing a professional tennis player, which I really enjoy digging into what makes them successful, how they came up, how they practice as a junior and as a professional player, their fitness regimen, and more. And that's pretty much exactly what we covered. I also asked Illya about his backhand technique. He has a great backhand, and obviously a lot of amateurs, myself included, have struggled with this stroke. So it was very interesting to talk to Illya about all these aspects and much more. And if you don't know about Illya, he is an ATP pro from Ukraine. He has been ranked as high as number 49 in the world in singles and 268 in doubles, primarily a singles player, obviously. And Illya has won 8 challenger titles, including one just a couple weeks ago from this recording where he defeated none other than Andy Murray in the final. Illya has also reached the 4th round of the U.S. Open in 2016, where he defeated Nick Kyrgios along the way, and he's battled top players like Stan Wawrinka and David Ferrer and a bunch more. So I really, really love talking to these top-level professional players, and I think you'll get a kick out of Illya's personality. He has a very fun one, and that's reflected in his YouTube channel, which I highly encourage you all to check out as well. So you can just type in Illya Marchenko, Illya, last name Marchenko, in YouTube, and I will also have the link to his channel in the show notes page. So with that, I really hope that you enjoy this interview about the training and fitness secrets from an ATP pro. And so without further ado, here is my interview with Illya Marchenko. Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the podcast. I'm really honored to have professional tennis player Illya Marchenko on the podcast. And you heard about his accolades earlier in the intro, but it's always especially fun for me to speak with, the athletes at the top of their sport, and tennis, of course. So, Illya, I just want to welcome you to the podcast and also congratulate you on your recent title.
Thank you.
And thanks so much for coming on.
Well, thanks a lot for inviting, and I'm always happy to promote my YouTube channel and to talk with the journalist and to spread the love of tennis.
Yeah, for sure, Illya. And it's really funny. I mean, I obviously have seen you play and heard of you, but I interviewed Marcus Willis about his run in Wimbledon, and then I Googled some of his matches, and I saw the one with you, and then it was so funny for me to see you comment underneath it, and you mentioned some funny comment like, there's no way I'd let him through or something like that to the main draw.
Yeah, not on my watch. The comment was not on my watch.
Yeah, right, yeah.
Because it was second year in a row he was going to qualify, but I stopped him at the final of qualification.
Right, yeah, that's pretty brutal for him, obviously, but great win for you. So yeah, I just want to get into just obviously your career and then some tips for the audience, and I think it'll be really insightful. So again, I appreciate you coming on. First off is I listened to a podcast you did with my friend Fabio on the Functional Tennis podcast, and you mentioned a very interesting story about how you first began playing tennis, and it actually had to do with I believe, an autoimmune disease. So I was wondering if you could talk to us about how you got your start in tennis and how that all relates.
No, it has nothing to do with autoimmune disease. I was just a kid who was sick a lot of the times, and so I was trying to build up my immune system to grow up faster, because sports usually helps, to breathe and in general, I think sports is a pretty healthy thing to do, and I think everyone should do it in one way or another. That's how I came to tennis.
Very cool, Illya. And then did you play any other sports besides tennis? I mean, I know that your brother is actually, ice skated in the Olympics, which is amazing as well. So, did you play any other sports when you were younger?
Well, no. I started with tennis and stick to it. And I'm such kind of person. If I start something, I really stick to it. And well, I love to play football. I always enjoyed that sport, and but unfortunately, I got many injuries playing football. So at some point of my tennis career, I had to stop because it was too many ankle injuries, and the recent one I think was 2 years ago. We had this friendly match against Slovakia against Slovenia. I was playing for Slovakia because I live here, and first match was okay, and but the second one I broke my rib because I got fouled, and it was just normal falling down on the floor, but I have no idea how I broke that rib. And actually, two doctors after that, they examined me and they told me that I couldn't break a rib and it looks fine. And for 1 month, I was trying to practice with that broken rib. And after 1 month of nothing, it was still painful, obviously. Had to make an MRI. I don't know why they didn't want me to do it in the first place, but I've done an MRI and it showed that I have broken rib.
Jeez. Yeah, I mean,
yeah, that's why I would really love to play football after I finish my career as much as I can, because I really like the game, and I always enjoy. My legs are pretty fast, so I always enjoy to play it.
Yeah, and it's interesting. I saw a post that you put on, I think Instagram, wasn't it, about Shakhtar Donetsk? Like, is that your team?
Yeah, it's my team because the other team is AC Milan. It's not performing that well as it used to, obviously, comparing to their level. And I'm not really watching Italian league so much. I was always following the Champions League, Milan involved, and right now I'm supporting Shakhtar Donetsk. And actually, that post on Instagram I put today. It was because Shakhtar Donetsk and Dynamo Kiev are the biggest rivals in Ukrainian football. And the funny thing about that post was the Twitter account of Shakhtar Donetsk wished good luck to Dynamo Kiev in their match against Brugge, on which an account of Dynamo Kiev answered that they hope that two Ukrainian teams gonna be in the next round, which is for the fans of those two teams a bit weird situation.
Wow.
So yeah, I mean they are both Ukrainian teams, but it's like, Barca and Real. It's not that they don't have such feelings between the fans.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's nice to have some unity for once, I guess, with those teams.
Yeah. Well, but it was actually surprising to read that.
Yeah, that's cool, man. And one thing in terms of like camaraderie and such is, as I mentioned, your brother was a very high level skater. So I was wondering of your relationship with him, and was there any sort of like you feeding off of him or him feeding off of you? I know you're 10 years younger, I think, than him, but was there any sorts of like helping each other in terms of sports?
Well, I think I have a great brother, and when I think about it, he was always playing with me. So when I think about it right now, he was like, I don't know, 16 years old, 17 years old, or even 20 years old, and he was still playing with me different games, and it was really fun. And I'm thinking about, like, would I play with a kid like when I was 20 or 16? You have a lot of other things to do, and not to play with your younger brother. And he was always doing it. And during my career, he was the one who was always supporting, and he always said that I should continue as long as I can, because the sport career gonna be the most exciting part of my life, and he really wished that I perform good, and stay a tennis player as much as I can.
Very cool. Was there anything in particular that you learned from seeing him perform at a really high level that you
Well,
took?
it's a so different sport that I don't know. It's I don't think it's something like I haven't seen him practicing much. I was just watching him on TV when he was performing, and I was still pretty young, and he finished his career pretty early as well. So I don't think it. I my parents obviously were more experienced, but still, well, a lot of support. That's the main thing, and maybe some understanding when you lose what's happening in your mind, because people outside of the sport, they don't really get it.
Yeah, there's definitely that connection with you too. So very cool, Ilya. Curious about your junior career. Obviously, extremely important in how you develop your game at that point. So, at what point did you start to take tennis seriously, and then what was the training environment like for you?
Well, I had no really junior career. I mean, internationally, I was my parents didn't have enough funds to send me somewhere to play international tournaments. So I was playing tournaments in Ukraine, which is much cheaper, and Ukraine is a pretty cheap country if you compare it to other ones. And yeah, I was just practicing, enjoying the game, was trying to improve my ranking, Ukrainian ranking, and at some sport I wanted to become like we have this master of sport or whatever. Then if you have that, you can coach straight away. You don't have to finish university or anything. Well, it used to be this way. I'm not sure how it is now. And yeah, basically, I was dreaming of becoming professional. Never thought it's gonna be. It was like big dream. You never think it's gonna happen. And at the age of 16, I think, I'm really not sure what age was it. A coach who moved from Dnipropetrovsk to Dnipropetrovsk, he called me. He invited me to practice there in Dnipropetrovsk. He found some money for my practicing, and some tournaments as well, but still within Ukraine. And then yeah, I spent a couple of years there. And then another step was when I started to play futures, and we had a series of futures in Ukraine. I performed pretty good compared to other Ukrainian players, and I got a call which probably changed my life completely. I got a call from Vikor Tennis Club, and they invited me to practice at the court, covering all expenses. And since then, they basically made me a tennis player, because since then I didn't have to worry about money tournaments or anything like that, and even the everything was covered, everything was planned. They were covering all my practices. I would literally have to just practice and play tournaments. They would give me a schedule. You have practice here, you have a gym session here, and so you need just to work and then to try to perform my best at the tournaments. And the coaches were deciding which tournaments I'm gonna go. So I had like just small word in that, and yeah, and for I think 8 years I was there, and they created me as a tennis player. With them, I entered top 100 for the first time, and yeah, it was huge support and in creating me as a tennis player.
Yeah, I mean, that's incredible. I'm so glad that you were fortunate enough to have that happen to you, because as we all know, it's very,
Yeah.
very difficult, financially on the tour. Money part of it, but can you give us any sort of idea as to how much it costs for players like you, like per year? Any sorts of idea? I imagine it's a lot.
I think travel expenses were around 50,000 per year, And plus coaches, it's really hard to tell because I don't know what were their salaries and if it was based on me or because they had other players as well. It's really hard to tell. Like roughly, I would say my expenses right now around 100,000 per year. But like it's how I really never calculated like dollar per dollar.
Sure.
Or anything like that. I've finished many seasons in minors, and yeah, but those good ones they covered the rest of them, and yeah, I was able, for example, from US Open, I was able to play for a couple of years in minors, so it was. It's even if you when you're a professional player, it doesn't mean you earn every year, which is I think it shouldn't be this way.
Yeah, it's a very difficult situation, but obviously that fourth round, amazing accomplishment there. Also, I was curious, like when you have a situation where a organization or club is covering your expenses, do you think that would motivate somebody to perform even better, or do you think they kind of relax somewhat and then maybe not perform as well? What's your take on that?
Well, it probably depends on a person, but I think those guys who relax, they would not go up in the ranking. They would stop their career pretty early, and I mean, basically, nobody gonna give you money if you show no result at all. And for me personally, I never needed extra motivation. Yeah, so the good part that I was covered, I was organized, everything was under control, but the other part was not under my control. So I would probably do something a bit differently, even at that period. And of course, when I was growing up as a player, as an adult, I would like to make my own decisions. Yeah, and that's why actually we split at the end, but we split it at very good, let's say, relationship, and I'm gonna be always thankful to what they've done. And it was never about the money, because they were never expecting to earn money with me. I understood it straight away when the first big result came to me, and it was semi-final of Moscow ATP from qualis. Huge money for me that time. By the contract, I would have to give them a big part of it, but they said no, for this result you can keep everything for yourself.
Wow,
yeah. So it was never about the money, and it was huge support.
Yeah, that's really incredible. You mentioned in your previous answers just now that you never needed extra motivation. So I'm curious about, because there are players obviously that struggle with the motivation part. So what exactly is it that keeps you motivated, every day or most days to keep it trying to your best on the court?
Well, just I like to win. I like to win. I like the sport. That's the key thing, and I really don't know if any of the guys in top 500 or in 600, I don't know, I cannot draw the line there. There are any players who doesn't want to win, who don't want to win. So yeah, winning, I mean, money is a good part as well, but winning, and it's always a good feeling.
Yeah, no, it always is fun to win and to figure out ways to keep winning.
Of course, I mean, I'm really competitive in any type of thing I do. I used to play a bit of soccer on PlayStation and stuff like that. I even won one tournament in Donetsk, but yeah, that's, if I play something, I play to win. That's the key thing for me.
Yeah, I think that really is the key. I mean, I wrote an article like maybe 4 or 5 years ago now, and I basically emailed 70 different college coaches in the U.S., and I asked them for the most important character traits of successful tennis players in college, and the number one, actually by far, was being competitive. That was just number one key. So, I mean, I'm not surprised to hear that, which is great to hear. Illya, in terms of your progression to the Pro Tour, I heard on the interview with Fabio that you did get some offers from United States universities, if I remember correctly, and but you decided to go pro. So obviously, that offer to support you, I'm sure, was huge. But can you clarify that that timeline? And also, I'm curious, what schools gave you offers, and then what made you decide to just go pro?
Well, it's they offered me to go to university before Donetsk, before that sponsorship. So at that moment, it was a hard decision. But I always believe that if you want to become pro, you cannot, let's say, waste 5 years or 4 years studying, and you will not be able to get those years back. I mean, it's difficult decision. I think it was Oklahoma. It was difficult decision, but I always dreamed about being a professional tennis player, and that's why I answered no, and I always thought that I can answer yes in next couple of years if I really want to.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. It's still an interesting debate, that I guess American people who are pro college, they kind of point to some examples like Isner and McDonald and players like that.
Yeah, of course.
But yeah, I mean, I'm not sure how, maybe if they didn't go to college, maybe they would have done better. Who knows? But I can definitely understand that. And there's proponents of just going straight to pro level as well. So that makes sense. I want to start in regards to, well, I guess we've talked about your pro career already some, but if you were able to somehow take a time machine and then go back to 18-year-old Illya Marchenko and then give him advice to help him maximize his career and reach the highest level that possible, what advice would you give 18-year-old Illya?
Yeah, I've already answered. I think it's one of in interviews to this question, and I'm gonna stick with that answer. It's work smarter, not harder. That's the key thing, I think, which maybe in some points ruined my career.
That's interesting. I'd love to kind of expound upon that some, if you don't mind. Like, what are some examples of ways where you maybe work too hard instead of smarter?
Well, yeah, I've got a lot of injuries during my career, and I was always trying to come back as soon as possible. And I always believe that to work hard is the main thing you could do, which is true. But if you just work hard, you can actually hurt yourself, and you really need to think about what are you doing and why are you doing. And yeah, I mean, it's easy to judge when you know some things, but obviously when you're young you have no idea, and you just follow people around you, and thing is that they might not know something as well. And sport is changing, fitness is changing, and the way you practice is changing as well. So I mean, now players are able to play longer because of all that, because of rehabilitation, because of fitness, and because of all that. Even I'm 33 right now, and with 3 surgeries, I still can compete and win some challenger tournaments. I mean, maybe not something that many people dreamed of, but still it's pretty competitive and professional tennis.
Yeah, I mean, I'll take beating Andy Murray in a final of a tournament.
Yeah, but many people say that he's not the same anymore, but I still think he's a guy to beat because he has won a tournament after his surgery, and mentally, I mean, you cannot compare him to any other player on a challenger tour, probably, because he has won everything, so
Yeah.
he knows how to do it. And when I was serving for that match, I mean, I was much better the whole match, but during that period, when I had to serve for it, it was a different story.
Yeah, I mean, I had faith in you, but I was getting a little bit worried, like, oh man, Andy, like, yes.
Yeah, I was sure I'm gonna lose that last game, and we would have to play tiebreak or whatever.
Yeah.
But I didn't think that I would lose it. But yeah, I was so tight, you cannot imagine.
So that's an interesting question that a lot of players, they email me and they say, hey, I get tight in matches, I get nervous. Like, what helped you to get through that tight period? Because it's going to happen, but what did you do to break through?
Well, the main thing is if you're tight, it's a good sign. That means that you care, which is the bad thing, because if you never get tight, it means you don't care. And to be tight is normal. Everyone gets tight. If you watch really carefully, even the big three guys like Djokovic, Nadal, Federer, they get tight as well. And with Federer, he misses. With Nadal, he starts to play really, really short. With Djokovic, it's not that, but he gets angry. But it's not that obvious, I would say. But for sure, everybody gets tight in one way or another, and you just have to live with it. You have to understand that you have these feelings because you care, which is okay, and then it's kind of easier to go through that. And yeah, you rely on your weapons in which you trust the most, and if you fail, you have to live with it, and you have to keep going, because that's normal.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Of course, if you have more experience, you've been these types of situations, then it's a bit easier. Like, you already been there, you know how it's done, and it's easier. But still, you're gonna get tight against. I mean, it can happen against any opponent. I won the tournament. Next week I play a young guy from Italy. It was a very close match, and I get tight like as well. So it can happen with any opponent and at any stage.
Yeah, definitely, Ilya. I'm curious. Accepting it is obviously a hugely important step, but do you do anything physically to also maybe like reduce it at all? Like, I've heard mental game experts say to do certain physical things, like, deep breath and play with your strings a bit, and think about the game plan. Like, do you do anything in particular?
Well, yeah, game plan is a bad thing to do if you think about what to do continuously about what you're gonna do. They take away your focus, and yeah, of course, a breathing part, and the other thing, they don't help me much to be honest. But yeah, I always I would love to have plan, because this helps you to think about something else, which is good as well.
Yeah, for sure. In terms of it, I'm still really curious about how you mentioned about working smarter. So is it like when you practice these days, do you have like more of a laser focused like practice session and things you want to work on? Because I think one of the big things with a lot of the amateur players, who, like most people I'd say who are listening to this, are probably like 3.0 to 4.5 players, but which is intermediate level, but a lot of times they go out on the practice court and they just are hitting cross courts all day and just like doing the same old things and not really practicing with intent respective to what they need to work on in their game. So is that something that you ended up making an adjustment to as well for yourself?
Uh, no, not really. I still play a lot of cross courts, but first lesson was you have to respect the rest. I mean, you have to respect those resting days, and you cannot just work all the time. You must put that time for recovery. Recovery is a huge part of training process, and you really need to take it seriously, like massages, physiotherapy, and other things what you can do. You have to respect that as much as your training sessions, or even more. Like stretching, I was never doing stretching. That's why my muscles, like a lot of things, I was not. I would practice, but I would not care about recovery that much. And I think this was my big mistake. And right now, for example, I practice only 3 days, and then I have rest. After travel, I always have rest. Before, we would come from the tournament and go to practice straight away, and which is very not good thing for your body. And these days, I like right now. Right now, I have more fitness practices than tennis practices, especially after long tournaments like this one. So right now, I have 2 fitness practices a day and only 1 tennis practice, because I need to prepare my body for that tennis, because tennis is one-sided sport. You have one side is working different from another, and you have all this disbalance, and you have to work on it in the gym or on a track to balance all those things. It's better for your health and for your performance as well.
Yeah, for sure. Very interesting stuff there. And I just was remembering like a video you did about stretching in the hotel, and it's pretty funny. So yeah, I just really enjoy that your particular style of humor. So but what in regards to the stretching and actually the fitness in general, can you kind of break down for us? I'm really curious about these 2 sessions that you do a day. Like, what is it comprised of? Like each session, what are you doing there?
Well, it's planned by my fitness coach, and usually the main thing that to start the cycle with some mobilization training, which is more like stretching and kind of similar stuff what you've seen in that video. Then after, like the second can be like power, when like regular gym, when you work on your muscles, when you gain muscles. Then running is very important part of all my practice cycles, because you need to train. Actually, it's more like train for your heart. This 200-meter sprints and 150-meter sprints. It's good for your heart. It's actually gives me a lot of energy to run on a court afterwards. If I would do it on the court, it would not give me that clean gain, I would say, because running on the court and running 200 meters, it's different thing. I mean, you can sometimes you can cheat on the court. You can do less steps, or you can use other ways to shorten the point. But if you have to run 200 meters sprint, you're gonna run 200 meters sprint. that's what you're gonna do. For me, it works this way. I don't know, maybe for other people it's different. And basically these mobilization things are important. I mean, you can do it yourself at the hotel, but when it's supervised by the coach, it's much better, because he sees where I'm doing wrong, where I'm not, because you feel your body always a bit differently the way it actually is. Some people cannot stay straight and or keep the head straight because they feel like it's straight, but it's actually not. So it's always good to have some supervision and work on those areas, those weak areas. My core was pretty weak a couple of years ago. I think now it's helping me a lot because my knees are still not perfect, and I have other small things, and I'm not young, so I think core right now helps me to avoid some bigger injuries.
Yeah, I really appreciate the insight there. And I think you mentioned in like a random comment that I was reading that you, because you came off like, I guess 8 matches that you played, and so I think you had like an adductor issue. Like, was it a little bit tight or something? Like, how's that going?
Yeah. It's getting overused because this muscle is protecting my knee, which is still a bit swollen sometimes. I have a meniscus tear there again, and it's like some doctors would suggest to operate it. I've been there. It didn't help much because knee is not the core of a problem. The core is somewhere else, and that's why it gets overused, because it's trying to protect the knee.
Gotcha, Ilya. So there are, of course, a lot of players who they get injured and then they kind of struggle to get back in good playing shape. And you have a good amount of experience with dealing with these injuries. So do you have any tips for players who have sustained like similar injuries like you have and who want to get back on the court as soon as they can to help them out?
Well, I'm probably not very good example. Yeah, I've had several injuries, but every time it took very long time to come back. And other players, they don't have these issues. They can have the same level of a game straight away, and it was not the case with me. I think my biggest mistake all these years was that I was trying to come back as soon as possible, and you should not. You should really wait, build up, and if you think you're ready, just wait a little bit more. Because you cannot force because the doctors tell you, let's say, after meniscus surgery, you can you can play a tournament in like 6 weeks or like 7 weeks, and you focus on those 7 weeks. And I was playing a tournament after 6 weeks. I don't think I should. Those like 2 or 4 weeks more, they would not change my career, but they would help to recover better, and probably would avoid some other issues.
I like that advice. Better safe than sorry. Build in some extra time to recover.
I mean, you need that, because at some spot I thought like, this pain, it's kind of okay. It will never go away. I will have to live with it. But no, you shouldn't think this way. You should try to bring your body back to normal and not thinking about that injury at all. But I don't know if it's possible at all, but to use a couple of extra weeks on top of what doctor says, I think it's a good thing.
Yeah, for sure, Ilya. One more quick question on just fitness related, but not injuries. Is I'm curious, is there any particular exercise like in the gym? I know you do like hundreds of them, but any particular exercise that you think that maybe the people listening, like if they put this exercise into their fitness routine, it could maybe help them a lot with their power and speed on the court?
Well, yeah, one exercise helped me a lot with my knees issues. but I have no idea how to explain it. Like I would, I would be able to show it, but no idea how to explain it.
Do you know the name? It's
It's
okay.
basically I don't know if there is a name. Or, I mean, I know the name in Slovakian. I have no idea how to translate it in English. It's
That's okay.
yeah, it's basically for your glutes, and yeah, there it is on that video from that hotel room, but yeah, I have no idea how to explain it.
Yeah, no worries. I'm just gonna make a note here to just link to the video.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's good.
glutes exercise.
Subscribe
And get all your family to subscribe as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's a great channel. A question for you, Ilya, regarding like your training, because again, a lot of players don't really train properly. I'm curious, and maybe it changes, every day. But what are the core things that you do during a training session, assuming that you're not, it's not a tournament week?
Well, you must have a goal, what you work on, and understand why you do certain things. And if you don't understand, you should ask your coach, like, why are we doing this? And but not in an offensive way, but really try, because if you understand it while you practice, it's much easier to get there. Because when I was younger, many times coaches would not explain me why are we doing certain things, but they would just tell me do it. And I don't know if they thought it's that I'm not smart enough to understand, or they were not smart enough to explain. I don't know.
Definitely the second one, not the first one.
Yeah, and and when I think back to some of those exercises now with my experience, I like, man, that we were doing that just because it was good for this, and it's so logical right now, but it was so not logical at that time. But the coach would never explain to me, so I think like I would understand. Just tell me like this, like 10 words, I would understand. Like it's logic, I don't know if I would, to be honest, because you're young and you have your whole thinking, and but I'm really sorry that I didn't get those explanations. Or maybe I did, I don't remember. I didn't understand that, I don't know. It's another story. It's always easier to talk afterwards.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Just blame the coaches, it's fine. But no, that's cool.
Just blame the coaches.
Yeah, I mean, why blame yourself?
No, I mean, if I would be as experienced as I am right now, I would understand it straight away. But so I cannot take I cannot put all the blame on my coaches, because I was stupid.
No,
I am now as well, like comparing to some other people. I mean, of course, you cannot know everything. You just need to learn every day for something new.
Yeah, no, I think you bring up a great point, actually, for any coaches listening. I think the more you can explain and make it logical for the players, the more they might be invested in it and have more passion for doing what you're telling them. Because a lot of times if we're just told to do things without any explanation, then we start to wonder like you did, and then sometimes we might not end up being so excited about it. So no, it's a good point there, Ilya. Just curious, like in terms of your practices, like how much drilling are you doing? How much practice matches? Like what's the breakup usually of that?
Well, practice matches usually come closer to the tournament, when I want to have these feeling points and stuff like that. And when I come back from a series of tournaments, I need to clean up my strokes a bit, maybe to play with the basket, to feel the movement and stuff like that, and to work on some changes. It's at my age right now, it's difficult to make some major changes, but in tennis you're changing something every day. You come like Tuesday or Monday you have one forehand, you come Tuesday, it's a bit different. You're always in search of something and trying to listen to your feelings and stuff like that. But yeah, you basically you have to observe your game and what you need at a certain period of time. When you need to clean your shots, you have to clean them. When you feel like you need more points because the tournament's coming, you need to play more points. If you want to change something completely, like then obviously for like week or maybe more, like 2 weeks, you no points. You're gonna work on that thing, and yeah, that's basically it.
Cool.
I'm running a lot on my practices because my legs is my bread. So
I like it.
That's the main part of my game, and I cannot leave it aside.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, it's so.
Unfortunately, I have to run a lot.
Yeah, I feel your pain. You know, sometimes I see like Isner and they're like big servers, and I say, man, why can't I just do that?
He doesn't need to run a lot.
Yeah, unless he's playing.
And I have to.
Crazy players, yeah. But so on that note, actually, I was trying to. What question? Oh yeah. So in terms of your game plan, so I'm wondering, like, with your game plan that you create, before your matches, presumably, is it usually the same? Is it like always constructed around like what you do best, or do you often change the game plan a lot to accommodate for how to best handle particular opponents?
Well, I focus how to hurt my opponent, but using my abilities. I mean, even if the guy is lobbing his returns, I'm not gonna. Do you hear me? Нужно чуть-чуть. Hello. Нужно чуть-чуть перенести, потому что я еще сейчас подкаст заканчиваю и потом вернусь. Минут на 15 буду опаздывать. Хорошо.
Hey, Ilya?
Do you hear me?
Yeah. I guess my question sucked, and then
it was a phone call. Okay, could you repeat the question?
I thought I just asked a shitty question, and then you decided to leave.
Yeah, I'm just kidding.
No, I'm just kidding. Let's see. Yeah, I'm recording. Okay, good. I'll start it back. So, Ilya, I'm curious about how you construct a game plan before your matches. Is it usually such that you keep it the same in terms of like it's always centered around your strengths, or do you change it quite a bit depending on your opponent?
Well, obviously, for me, I always try to find ways to hurt my opponent first, but of course, using my abilities. I cannot, for example, if somebody lobs every return, I will not surf on the volley in any case. I mean, because it's like lost point for me. I'm gonna find the ways how can I apply my game against this opponent, and of course some opponents suits better for my game style. I mean, if the guy is just hitting full power, it's my favorite one, because I just wait for his miss, and I'm pretty good in defense. He's pretty good in attack, and there's completely two different tactics. They meet, and then the better player wins. And I really don't like to play against players who are similar than me. That's because I know it's gonna be long.
right.
It's gonna be long, and probably 3 sets and a lot of cramps and stuff like that.
Yeah, like Murray, Goffin, and all that. Those players.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
We're gonna run a lot. We're gonna play a lot of shots, and no matter what the score is, it's still painful game.
But I mean, the good thing is then okay, I can have a huge meal. I'm going to burn a lot of calories. I can have a big pie. I mean, it's not all bad, right?
yeah, right.
That's good. That's good. So, in terms of your backhand, Ilya, I mean, it's I think it's your favorite shot, but it's certainly a fantastic thing to watch. And I was wondering, that's one of the biggest weaknesses of amateur tennis players. So, do you have any tips on backhand technique that you think are really important for people to have a good backhand?
Well, I think it used to be my best shot, but I'm not sure it is now. Well, in backhand, it's the key part is it's your legs. Your legs, you have to. I mean, it's basically in every shot, but with backhand, you cannot really. If your footwork is bad, you cannot compensate it with your hand because there is no much space for that, like in forehand. Because in forehand, sometimes you can do it just with your hand. With backhand, you really need that good sweet spot and correct technique to hit a clean and good backhand. That's the main thing.
Yeah,
that I think that's why they struggle a lot, because amateurs usually they don't move that well.
Yeah, I think that's really great advice. Appreciate that. Yeah, because it's interesting. I was wondering at a couple years ago, why is my backhand much weaker than my forehand? And then I videotaped myself, and then I looked at my movement, and I said, wow, like my footwork is so much worse on my backhand. Like my weight transfer isn't going forward, and so that's a really good one there. Ilya, in terms of like you mentioned that you're really good at playing against players who hit very hard. So do you have any tips on playing those players? Like what's the key to be able to handle that power? Because a lot of players do struggle with handling power.
It's going to be funny, but it's legs again. Legs, you can save a lot of energy because you don't need to hit very, very strong shots or fast shots, because actually you just use the power of your opponent. And then, you need to have a variety of shots, like slice, spin, variety of height of the ball, and be consistent. Show them that you are ready for those shots. Of course, obviously, if you are, and show it to your opponent. They really don't like it if they feel that they cannot hurt you with just powerful shots. They start to risk even more, and then those errors are coming, and which you are waiting for. It's like show them that you are ready to defend no matter what, and you're gonna be consistent. You're not gonna miss, and they really don't like it.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, they're gonna be force themselves to try to go for too much and miss.
Yeah, sometimes they're just destroying themselves. I mean, you're not doing anything. They're destroying themselves just because they know that you're gonna defend, you're gonna bring all the balls back, and they think that they need to do something special on top of what they are doing, but they actually not. And they just, tennis is always a balance between aggressivity, like how to say it, aggressive.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Aggressive style and patience, so you always have to find the balance between those two, and to get those points point by point, and to win a match.
For sure, Ilya. That's great stuff. I want to ask you one more question before we get into your YouTube channel a bit more. Is there one particular change that you made in your game during your pro career that was sort of like an epiphany, where you made the change and then all of a sudden it's like, wow, I'm winning a lot more points, or I'm winning them much easier, Any particular change of that magnitude that you've made?
Well, to be honest, no, not really. Uh, Prepare the tactics before the match helped me a lot, I think. Yeah, you have to be ready because first it helps if you have a game plan, but like really clear in your head, like if he plays his best shot, for example, like running around with forehand and playing cross court, that immediately you're gonna change down the line or you're gonna slice. Like if you have that plan, it's helps you with that tightness, as we were talking before. And then of course many times you'll have to change because not everything's gonna work the way you think it should, because on a TV or on a stream, when you learning your opponent, things looks one way, and when you actually play against this opponent, you feel the ball completely different way. And sometimes I had to play to his stronger shots because I felt more comfortable playing there comparing to his weaker side, for example. And yeah, to have that game plan is very important, and I think that brought me a lot of wins.
Awesome. Thanks so much for that advice, Ilya. So, like I mentioned, Ilya has a great YouTube channel, has a great mix of obviously tennis advice and exercises and, funny things and stuff happening on the tour with Ilya's tournaments. So, what was it that sparked your desire to enter the world of YouTube?
Well, I just created one video. It started with one video. People liked it. Then I had another idea. I made another one. People liked it again, liked it again, and then ideas kept coming. I started to learn new things like editing and how to put the lights and everything. And I just like to learn, and I like to create these videos, and that's like hobby. It's I'm not really waiting anything from it. I'm trying to build some strategy how I'm gonna, to grow with my channel. But in general, I just like the process. Same as with tennis, I like to play the game. So same here. I just like to create those videos. That's it.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, you've obviously been gaining subscribers. You've got a couple of thousand right now, which is great. I think maybe when you were on that podcast with Fabio, you only had a few hundred. Maybe I'm wrong, but in any case, it's great growth because that was just a few months ago. And I mean, what is your goal with the channel? Like, what do you want to accomplish with it?
To be honest, I don't have any particular goal. I had a goal to reach this monetization thing. So now I'm officially part-time YouTuber. Yeah, I think I've earned already like $2. But yeah, and what people were saying that when you read that, you get more exposure. But for now, I don't really see that. I'm just trying to grow. I have tons of topics right now. I'm just need time and really to sit down and to think about jokes and how to create that video, how to to create that script, because all my videos are scripted, and yeah, I need a lot of time, which I don't have now because I'm winning matches, and we'll see where it leads us. If I get like a lot of subscribers, which actually I doubt, then I mean, we'll see. We'll see if I can create my own brand for so more people know about me, about who I am. after I finish my career, then I have more job opportunities, and it's actually helps even now. More people are reaching me out with different propositions, with different platforms and stuff like that. So yeah, it's quite interesting, and I wanted to become an actor like when I was a really small kid. So maybe I can somehow fulfill that that dream on my YouTube channel.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, I mean, we could talk offline if you ever want to about how to potentially expand your YouTube into other opportunities. But yeah, it's a great platform. I really wish that more pro players did this, because it really is fun for the audience to get insight.
Well, it's a lot of work.
Yeah,
it's a lot of work, and I'm not sure like you really have to enjoy that, because it takes a lot of time. I mean,
how are you doing
it? A lot of hours.
How are you doing it with the pro? Playing a professional tour. How do you do both?
Well, it's like before I used to play some games. I'm hardcore gamer. I always love these adventure games. I finished like hundreds, if not more than thousands of those. Wow. And right now I have no time. I would love to, but I have no time. I'm thinking to buy a new laptop, and I'm thinking like, should I buy this M1 chip with new MacBook Pro and Air, which is very good for video editing, or should I buy a gaming laptop because I game sometimes? And then I think like, but yeah, right now I'm not gaming at all because I have no time.
Have you ever played any Counter-Strike? I know that's not an adventure game.
I suck because I'm a console player, so I'm not actually used to mouse, and I'm much better with controller. And I used to play a lot of Battlefield, and I was pretty good on consoles. I mean, not any competitive level, but like okay. But yeah, I'm much better with the controller, and I play most of my adventure games with controller. I have no idea what to do with this. I mean, although it's gaming mouse, but doesn't help.
We have the same.
It doesn't help.
Same mouse, I think. It's like a Logitech.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
It's no, yours. I don't know.
Dirty too.
I don't know. I have G603.
Oh yeah.
It says.
Oh, okay, 703. It's the same basically. Or
okay,
similar.
Yeah. Mine is cheaper, my channel is on the budget.
Me too. No, it's a good mouse. Yeah, that's really cool. I was just curious because I have played Counter-Strike, as you could probably tell. I look like a nerd. But so this guy Simple, he's like the best CS:GO player of all time, and he's from Ukraine. So yeah, his name is Simple.
Yeah, I mean, I know that we have pretty good players, not only in Counter-Strike, I think, but yeah, I never was into it, so I have no idea
sure
about names and everything.
Yeah,
but I'm like, it's not really surprising to me that we have someone like this.
Yeah, no, they're sick. I mean, if you ever watch Simple and Navi is the clan, Navi.
I think Dolgopolov knows some guys, and yeah.
Nice. How is he doing, by the way? Is he playing these days, or what's?
I think you should better ask him. I mean, I don't know if he's gonna come back or it's done. It's not officially done, but I don't really know what his plans are. But
sure.
Yeah, unfortunately, we would love to see him in our Davis Cup team. It would be much stronger with him, but yeah, injuries, same.
Yeah,
tough.
Yeah, injuries are really tough for sure. But yeah, he's got a really unique game, and I enjoyed very quick service motion, and yeah, he's a cool player. So with your YouTube channel, how often are you publishing the videos?
I'm trying to do every week. Yeah, that's what I do. Sometimes more often. I'm trying never to wait more than 7 days, but sometimes it happened. But yeah, I'm trying to upload every week.
Nice. Yeah, that's a good frequency. So, I mean, again, everybody should subscribe to Illya Marchenko's YouTube channel for sure. We'll link it in the show notes, so it'll be very easy. You just click it and hit subscribe, and the notification bell.
Thank you.
No problem. And hit the notification bell too, you know, so then you get the notification.
Yeah.
They make it harder now for people to see your new videos. But and don't you also have like a coaching service as well? Like, can't people actually send in their videos and then you analyze them and all that?
Yeah. I'm improves dot. What was the name? I know it's improves. The link in all of my videos, so it's pretty easy to find. But CO,
yeah,
I
it's
think
CO.
It's improves.co.
Right.
And yeah, you basically get. I think it's a good idea, but it's a bit difficult right now with all these lockdowns and stuff. But I think when people start playing, I think it's great idea, and I would. Yeah, if I would play some sport, I would love to order something like that. I mean, a pro tennis player, like, it's not that many professionals over there right now, but I think this platform has a great future, and unfortunately for me, I will have much more competition over there.
Well, I see. I like, you know, I think you're a good deal compared to some of these other players. I won't name them. I think it's a good value here. No names again.
Okay.
Just looking at the list. Anyway, but no, that's cool. So we'll link that up as well for people to check out. I think it's. I mean, I would do it for sure. So, cool, Illya. Well, how can people get in touch with you? Like, what's the best place to go to connect with you and follow what you're doing?
What do you mean, to write me something, or
a love letter? No, I'm kidding. No. Like, I guess, like, where would
like hate messages? They're only for Instagram.
Only for Instagram.
Hate messages only Instagram. Yeah, Instagram direct is full of hate messages.
I think
other platforms not that much.
I think I tried to see if I could like message you on your story, but I don't think people can do that. I could see why, you know, because there's a lot of stupid people. But
no, I think with me you can do that. I just love. I would like to get those messages, and then I can block that motherfucker.
Yeah, I think he's
beep that one.
Beep. Hey, editor, please beep this. Yeah, because I remember you said something like, "Here's my routine is like book a flight and then block 30 people on Instagram."
yeah, that's the usual stuff. You cannot imagine. We were like, and the funny, we were with Max Chuck. We were watching the match before us, and the guys got tight, and they made like some stupid mistakes, like some drop shots, like very stupid drop shots, very stupid decisions, and I'm like, yeah, that's fixed. Yeah, that's fixed. And we're like laughing, like, yeah, that's everything is fixed. Like they playing like a game for 15 minutes and then like stupid drop shot in the middle of his own court, and yeah, that's fixed for sure. And we're like laughing, like, oh my god,
man,
for sure they're gonna get those messages.
Yeah, they're brutal, man. They're any mistake. I guess you guys are robots. You have to be perfect, right? But
yeah, like how could I lose to Seppi? Like, man, I'm playing for 2 weeks. My legs are done. Like my doctor like pain, and during the match, because I was in for Nursultan Challenger, and during that match with Seppi, it was like close to the deadline to withdraw. And I called the supervisor during my match because I understood that there is no chance I will be able to play Nursultan. Like, Carmelo, could you take me out of Nursultan because I'm dying here?
Oh my gosh, that's amazing, man.
Yeah.
See,
and then I get like, you fixed, how could you lose to Seppi, you beat Murray and stuff like that. Oh my god.
Yeah, you know, that's the problem. Like, people like who have never experienced anything remotely to what you have, like they think they like know everything somehow, and then they like, you know, make comments. It's crazy. Like, it's not just tennis, it's like everything. But
yeah, I think every sport gets like, we are probably, they think it's easy because you're alone. I mean, that's kind of true that the result is on your shoulders, but at the same time, like, come on, man, I don't know, I had a fight with my girlfriend, I don't know, a headache, stomach, whatever, like,
at the same time,
it's such a small difference, and you can lose them to anyone.
Yeah,
it's not that huge difference as they think.
Yeah, no, 100%.
That's life. I just for me, main problem, I think that we don't get paid enough to read those messages.
yeah, I should pay.
That's my main issue.
Yeah.
So I would, I'm okay. Like, if I make enough money, I order security bodyguard with me everywhere, and I don't care. Like, you can say what you want, but.
I think
when you get $200 and you get 30 messages, I don't think it's really should be this way.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think the club should foot the bill, though. I think that's essential. Service is the bodyguard. Or I volunteer. I'm not that strong, though, so I don't know if you want me to be.
Oh, yeah.
But Illya, so I have this question that I like to ask people.
Do I have many questions, because I have another phone call afterwards? Like, I should be there already. Like, maybe last question, or a couple more.
Yeah. Oh no, that's okay. I just one last question. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
My bad.
Sure. No worries.
Thanks. So Illya, I just want to close this interview out, and I thank you so much for being here. This question is: what is one key tip to help the audience improve their tennis games?
Well, set up a goal and go for it.
Yeah.
That's the main thing, I think, in any sport and in tennis as well.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, that's a great one. Simple but sweet, and really appreciate it. So, Illya, I know you got to go, but just thanks so much again for joining us, and I really appreciate it, and wish you the best, and hopefully be in touch, and keep up the great work, and everybody subscribe to Illya's YouTube channel. So,
thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks, Illya. Take care.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks, Illya. Alrighty then. I really hope that you enjoyed that interview with ATP Pro Illya Marchenko. Illya, thanks a lot for coming on to the show and spending a considerable amount of time with me and us on the show. As I mentioned, definitely check out Illya's YouTube channel, and we'll link to it in the show notes page, along with the stretching and mobility video and Illya's social profiles. He's a fun guy, as you can tell from the interview, and also had a lot of great insights for us, which I always really appreciate, especially from the best players in the game. I would really appreciate it if you would subscribe to the podcast. It would be great, not just for the show to bring in more visibility so that more people can check it out, but also for you, because then all the episodes will be automatically downloaded to your device of choice and app of choice that you use to listen to the show. And yeah, that would be great. And speaking of which, I just checked out the podcast rankings. I mean, I don't know what formula they use, but supposedly this site is very accurate and tracks multiple different platforms like Spotify and Apple Podcasts and stuff. And it looks like the show is number 6 all-time ranked as far as tennis podcasts, and currently number 5. The current rankings changed a lot. But anyways, pretty cool to see that. And I also want to give a shout out to the individuals who have left really kind reviews. I want to shout out in particular Thiafo. Hopefully I pronounced this correctly, but Thiafo said, "The podcast has been invaluable for this 70-year-old tennis athlete. It covers so many venues with so many tennis pros. It has been my go-to since Tennis Summit 2020 and filled a void during COVID. So thank you, Maribon, smiley face, tennis ball." Thank you, Thiafo. I really appreciate the kind review. And yeah, I mean, it's great for me to connect with all these awesome players and coaches, and then to extract information that you all have been asking me about, and then to bring that to you. And, it helps my game, helps your game. So it's a win-win, and I really enjoy putting in the time to do it. So it's not a problem at all. So again, thanks, CFO, for that kind review. And I just want to leave you with a quote, as I often love to do at the end of the show. And this one is by Bertrand Russell. And Bertrand said, "Do not fear to be eccentric in opinion, for every opinion now accepted was once eccentric." That is a great quote. And, along those lines, you want to be open-minded and figure out what ways you can improve yourself, and do not just stay stagnant, because then you'll never improve. All right. Thanks so much for listening. I'm really grateful for all your kind messages, and I'm really excited to be putting on Tennis Summit 2021. Wow, it's going to be less than 2 months from now, starting on April 19th. We've got some amazing coaches lined up for you all. So I'll have more information about that soon. And if you want to stay up to date on that information, just go to tennisfiles.com and subscribe to my email list. You'll get a free ebook as a gift for joining, as well as communications from me via email on the latest and greatest that's happening with the Tennis Files family. Alrighty then, have a great one, and I will speak to you all soon. Take care and all the best. This is Mehrbon Aranshad signing out.